I've been participating in Oscar pools for, let's say, a few years. And of course, there have been times when the winners were shocking. I've already discussed several of those already. But how about the top prize, Best Picture? Did this guy pull a fast one and help me lose a few of those pools? Well, let's explore and review those years and maybe figure out what happened. Because, well, I just can't quit you.
And the Oscar goes to Crash.
The gasp heard around the world. If I recall correctly, I think one of the Oscar pools I entered had a 300 plus way tie because of this announcement. Only those with true psychic abilities could have predicted Crash winning the Best Picture Oscar. This crime drama featured an ensemble cast and covered the racial and social tensions in Los Angeles, inspired by a true life incident experienced by the film's director, Paul Haggis. Why was the selection of Crash as Best Picture such a shock? It was nominated for a total of 6 Oscars and won for original screenplay and film editing, but no nomination for Best Director. That has happened 5 times so far. Okay, 1927's Wings, the first Best Picture winner. The Academy was figuring things out. Then 1932's Grand Hotel, the only film to win Best Picture without any other nominations. There's Argo, and 2 more which you will be hearing about shortly. Crash did win for Best Cast at the SAG Awards, which at that time had a pretty spotty record of predicting Best Picture.
I would like the locks changed again in the morning. And you know what? You might mention that we'd appreciate it if next time they didn't send a gang member.
A gang member?
Yes, yes.
Well, you mean that kid in there?
Yes, the guy in there with the shaved head, the pants around his ass, the prison tattoo.
Those are not prison tattoos.
Oh, really? And he's not going to go sell our key to one of his gangbanger friends the moment he is out our door.
We've had a really tough night. I think it'd be best if you just went upstairs right
and
now.
what, wait for them to break in?
Well then, which film did I, and most others, expect to win? As if I even have to ask.
This is a one-shot thing we got going on here.
It's nobody's business but ours.
You know I ain't queer.
Me neither.
Brokeback Mountain was considered daring at the time and generated some controversy over its story of the complex romantic relationship between 2 Wyoming men that spanned the course of 20 years. Brokeback Mountain scored 8 nominations and won 3 Oscars for Adapted Screenplay, Score, and Best Director for Ang Lee. It won Best Picture at BAFTA, Critics' Choice, the Golden Globes, and more than a dozen others, but it won nothing at SAG. Wonder why. One would think that the film industry would celebrate this kind of groundbreaking film with open arms. Many in front of and behind the camera did just that. But there was also some heavy vocal opposition. Oscar winner Ernest Borgnine and Oscar nominee Tony Curtis both came out publicly and stated that they refused to watch Brokeback Mountain. The old guard rallied the troops to not cast their vote, at least for Best Picture. Now, the new Academy rule that members must watch every film nominated in every category will go into effect in 2026. How will that be enforced? Well, if a member watches a nominee digitally on the Academy's members-only streaming platform, it's automatically counted. Everything else, in-person screenings at festivals, events, or in theaters, will be recorded using the honor system. It will be interesting to see if there are any major shifts with winners, though we'll never really know. If you had a ballot that year, how would you have voted? Oh, by the way, believe it or not, I auditioned for a cowboy movie once. I didn't get the part.
Chariots of Fire.
You may have not been around in 1982 when Loretta Young announced that Chariots of Fire was the winner of Best Picture, but I think the reaction of the audience spoke volumes. Based on the true story of two British athletes competing at the 1924 Olympics, I'm sure Chariots of Fire was a delightful film. Unlike Borgnine and Curtis, I did watch this one. Sort of. Okay, I fell asleep halfway through and was woken up by the person next to me who was snoring. Chariots of Fire was nominated for 7 Oscars and won 4, including Original Screenplay, Costume Design, and most deservedly for its memorable music score by Vangelis.
You mean? But I want you to do more than just watch a race. I want you to take part in it. I want to compare faith to running in a race. It's hard.
So why wasn't this film considered the favorite to win Best Picture? Well, for starters, there was the 3-hour opus Reds, with its 12 nominations, including a win for director Warren Beatty.
I couldn't think of letting you walk unescorted. Louise, tell me something. Does Dr. Trillinger mind you spending so much time at your studio?
People have to give each other a little freedom.
Oh, freedom, Mrs. Trillinger? I'd like to know what your idea of freedom is.
Reds was the kind of film that the Academy liked to honor in the top category. Though sentiment might have gone towards On Golden Pond, the Academy acknowledged that one with the top acting honors. Historically, I think more moviegoers are familiar with Chariots of Fire than Reds. In retrospect, was the Academy's big surprise a good choice?
Yeah, that's good. Driving Miss Daisy, Richard D. Zanuck, Willie Zanuck.
Remember that list I referred to of the 5 films that won Best Picture without a Best Director nomination? Here's one of them. In 1989, Driving Miss Daisy became a surprise box office hit.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing the best I can.
Me too.
Nominated for 9 Oscars and winner of 4, the film wasn't considered the frontrunner for Best Picture that year, as the Academy tended to go for heavier fare. So Driving Miss Daisy's Bruce Bedford missed nominations not only at the Oscars, but the Directors Guild as well. However, the film did win at the very first Producers Guild Awards, but who knew at the time that the award would become a strong predictor of the Best Picture Oscar winner? That year, while Field of Dreams was a hugely popular film with audiences, most expected Oliver Stone's Born on the 4th of July to take the top prize.
Charlie, but how are we gonna get out of here?
They made me kill babies, man. Little good babies. You ever have to kill a baby?
Yeah. Okay, come on. We'll get a ride. We gotta get back to the villa.
Fuck you!
Gotta get back to the villa.
What do you mean, okay? What do you mean, okay? You ever have to kill a baby? You ever have to kill a little goop baby?
I'm not exactly sure why Driving Miss Daisy won Best Picture. Do you have any thoughts?
This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing. This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture.
I couldn't do this video without including 2016's Moonlight, famous for winning Best Picture for more than one reason. Check out the video I did on how that whole mix-up happened. Moonlight didn't have a lot of hoopla surrounding its release, but it sure garnered a lot of critical support, and it did okay at the box office here in the States. It won a few of the precursor awards, along with collecting several prizes at the various critics associations.
Where'd you go last night?
What? Why?
Well, I'm your mama, ain't I? Why you ain't just come home later, boy? You had me worried about you. I guess you getting grown. I can't be keeping up with you all the time.
Heading into the Oscars, Moonlight received 8 nominations and won in 3 categories. I don't recall anyone really talking about the film taking the top prize because of
So,
Can I borrow what you're wearing?
why?
Because I have an audition next week. I'm playing a serious firefighter.
So you're an actress. I thought you looked familiar. Have I seen you in anything?
The coffee shop on the Warner Brothers lot.
La La Land not only took in nearly 500 million worldwide, but it was the darling of critics, who, like audiences, loved seeing the return of a film featuring singing and dancing. Notice I didn't exactly call it a musical. It won a lot of awards before tying the record of 14 Oscar nominations. However, it wasn't even nominated for Best Cast at SAG. Moonlight was, but didn't win. Come Oscar night, everyone knew that La La Land was going to come close to, if not break the Oscar record for the most wins. Well, that didn't happen, though it did win 6. But everyone, come on, even you, selected it on your Oscar pool as the easy winner for Best Picture. And it won. Kind of. Okay, Warren and Faye, you got the wrong envelope, but I'm still surprised that La La Land lost. Do you think the vote was close with Moonlight? Or was it the preferential ballot for Best Picture that was reinstituted in 2009? Yeah, the Academy first used this system from 1934 to 1945 as it believed, quote, this best allows the collective judgment of all voting members to be most accurately represented. How does it work? Academy members rank the Best Picture nominees from 1 to 10. A nominee is eliminated when it lacks the votes needed to cross the 50% threshold. Ballots on which that film is listed as number 1 are redistributed to the number 2 choice. That elimination and redistribution continues until one film hits the 50% mark and is crowned the winner. So if you've been wondering why there have been some surprise Best Picture winners in the last decade, that may explain it.
Rocky, Irwin, Winkler, and Robert Chardoff, producers.
This is not an indictment on Rocky Balboa nor Sylvester Stallone. The topic is shocking Best Picture Oscar wins, and this one was not expected.
Yeah, I originally done it. I carry pictures of all my fights. I originally done it in the Baby Crenshaw fight. You see that? Big baby's about the size of an airplane. I broke both my hands on his face. I lost that fight, but that's a nice picture, don't you think? See how it works there? Real nice.
In 1976, Rocky became what we call a sleeper hit. Shot on a shoestring budget of $1 million, the screenplay, written by Stallone in 3.5 days, was shopped around and generated a lot of interest as a vehicle to star a Redford, O'Neill, Reynolds, or Khan. Nobody wanted Stallone, because nobody had heard of him. But Stallone held his ground until United Artists agreed to produce the film with him as the lead. Trivia question. Which Oscar-nominated actress was Sylvester Stallone's first choice for the role of Adrian? I'll share the answer at the end of the video. Critics mostly liked Rocky, and audiences loved it. Stallone became a major star. The film didn't exactly take in any prizes before the Oscars, but it ended up with 9 nominations, winning 3. What else was nominated for Best Picture that year? Well, All the President's Men could have been a contender, but Bound for Glory might have done better in a different year. Taxi Driver was too dark for the Academy, but they still did the right thing by nominating it for Best Picture. What else made the list?
Don't worry about the truth. I will put the words in your mouth. And I said, what is this, the burning bush? For God's sake, I'm not Moses. And the voice said to me, and I'm not God. What has that got to do with it?
Okay, so many of you know that I think Network was expected to win Best Picture, and it should have won. It was one of the most talked about films of the year, and of its 10 Oscar nominations, it won 4, 3 of which were for acting, becoming only the second movie to achieve that distinction. Yeah, that one was the first. Rocky was distinctly different from Network. The former was a feel-good, inspirational popcorn movie, perfect for a Saturday night date. Network, on the other hand, was cynical, over-the-top, even controversial. Did Academy members vote for Rocky because it was a little guy makes good story? Did Network hit too close for home? I wonder which of these two films would win today.
Who gave this son of a bitch his green card? Birdman!
I was sure a film starting with the letter B was going to win Best Picture of 2014. And I was right. It just wasn't that one.
You're the original, man. You paved the way for all these other little clowns. Give the people what they want. Some good old-fashioned apocalyptic porn. Birdman, The Phoenix Rises. Pimple-faced gamers screaming in their pants. $1 billion worldwide, guaranteed.
Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, was to me a shocking winner. It did well at several precursors and won both the Producers Guild and SAG Cast Award. So, what was I thinking? More on that in a minute. This is one of those instances where I think the Academy got it right. Michael Keaton was at his best here in the title role. Birdman was nominated for 9 Oscars and won 4. How did I screw up this prediction? Everyone was talking about Boyhood before it was released, how it took 12 years to film, how it was so unusual in that it followed its hero as he aged in real time from 6 to 18 years old.
So what's the point?
Oh, what?
I don't know any of this. Everything.
Everything? What's the point? I mean, I sure as shit don't know. I mean, but neither does anybody else, okay? We're all just winging it, you know? I mean, the good news is you're feeling stuff, you know? And you gotta hold on to that.
I liked Boyhood, especially Ethan Hawke's performance as the dad. It received 6 Oscar nominations, but only won 1. No wins at the Directors Guild, Producers Guild, yet I thought it would win Best Picture because it was considered so original in conception and execution. Which B would you have chosen? Birdman or Boyhood? Here are a couple of shockers from the early years.
The fatal envelope, please. Oh dear. The winner is An American in Paris.
I think it's fair to say that An American in Paris was not considered a frontrunner for Best Picture of 1951. A dazzling display of music and dance, performed by the master himself, Gene Kelly, and lovely Leslie Caron in her film debut, the beautiful scenery and costumes, shot on 44 sets on the MGM back lot, and directed by Vincent Minnelli. An American in Paris won 6 out of its 8 Oscar nominations, and it earned an honorary Oscar for Gene Kelly. Many believe its 17-minute finale is what likely garnered it the top prize. But as great as it is for me to always watch Gene Kelly, this is the musical number I always pictured myself performing.
I'll build the stairway to paradise with the new step every day. With the new step every time.
Now, what else was up for Best Picture that year?
Did you promise to be a good boy? Not to waste your time on girls?
I don't waste my time.
A Place in the Sun also won 6 Oscars from its 9 nominations. But remember, back then, black and white films competed separately from color films in the technical categories. Starring Elizabeth Taylor and Montgomery Clift, can you imagine what their children would have looked like? If only. Oh yeah, Shelley Winters was also in it. And there was also this nominee.
Whoever you are, I've always depended on the kindness of strangers.
You may be familiar with this movie. 12 nominations, 4 wins. So let's talk. Did A Place in the Sun and A Streetcar Named Desire split the vote? Was the powerful MGM voting bloc enough to push An American in Paris to the finish line? Here are the other two nominees. I still think this win was a shocker. But hold on. The following year...
The winner is Cecil B. DeMille.
Did you catch presenter Mary Pickford's enthusiastic reaction to seeing Cecil B. DeMille's name on the card? This was the first year the Oscars were televised, and I don't think most actors realized their unfiltered reactions were to be immortalized. Cecil B. DeMille's 2.5-hour lavish production of the goings-on with the real-life Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus became the highest-grossing film of 1952. This predated the disaster movies of the 1970s, but the train crash scene impressed audiences. Nominated for 5 Oscars and winner of 2, modern-day critics and filmgoers have little regard for The Greatest Show on Earth. A popular consensus is that the film won Best Picture because it was considered to be the last chance for Cecil B. DeMille to win a competitive Oscar. There were members of the Academy who were veterans of the silent era and possibly chose the film as a vote for DeMille. Now, which films did it beat? Ivanhoe, Moulin Rouge, The Quiet Man, and this one.
I sent a man up 5 years ago for murder. He was supposed to hang, but up north they commuted it to life. Now he's free. I don't know how. Anyway, it looks like he's coming back.
I still don't understand.
He was always wild, kind of crazy. He'll probably make trouble.
High Noon is considered one of the best westerns of its era, winning 4 of its 7 Oscar nominations. Though critics at the time didn't quite get a western that focused on emotions and moralistic dialogue, John Wayne hated it, enough said, I still think it was considered the one to win. Which film released in 1952 wasn't even nominated for Best Picture? As for Cecil B. DeMille, at that year's Golden Globe Awards, he received a trophy, the first Cecil B. DeMille Award, which still exists today.
And the Oscar goes to... Shakespeare in Love.
Now, when it comes to this film, you all have lots to say. Shakespeare in Love actually received excellent reviews when it was released in 1998. It was nominated for 13 Oscars and won 7. The film won Best Picture at the BAFTAs and Golden Globes, as well as that Outstanding Cast Award at SAG. So what's the problem?
Gregory, remember thy washing blow.
Heart, fools, put up your sword, you know not what you do.
It starts well, then it's all long-faced about some Rosaline. Where's the comedy, Will? Where's the dog? Do you think it's funny?
Yeah, I know, Mr. W did it. When a film is about to be released or is up for an Oscar, its stars are contractually obligated to go out there and talk it up to the media. That's been happening for years. But with Shakespeare in Love, the cast was allegedly, let's say, strongly encouraged to participate in what was an unprecedented, months-long, non-stop campaign to ensure its success at the Oscars, which in turn made it one of the most commercially successful films of the year. So why was the audience shocked when it won Best Picture?
What the hell do we do now, sir?
Nominated for 11 Oscars and winner of 5, Saving Private Ryan was considered the easy winner based not only on the critical praise it received, but also its victories at the Producers and Directors Guilds. Though in stark contrast to Shakespeare in Love's lighter tone, Saving Private Ryan was considered among Steven Spielberg's best works, taking in almost $500 million worldwide. Do Do you think Saving Private Ryan's subject matter turned off Oscar voters? Or was the campaign for Shakespeare in Love enough to persuade Academy voters to choose it instead? In 2015, the industry trade paper The Hollywood Reporter interviewed hundreds of Academy members, and a majority of them reportedly said they would have voted for Saving Private Ryan. What about you? There's one more shocker I need to discuss, but before I do, I want to say thank you for watching this video. If the Oscars were always predictable, I wouldn't have any surprises to have fun discussing with you. After I answer that trivia question about Rocky's intended leading lady, will you click on the like button? And if you're not a subscriber, be sure and join our knowledgeable community for each weekly video, as well as casting your votes in the daily polls.
And the Oscar goes to Green Book.
This one made me lose big time in that year's Oscar pools. Green Book was nominated for 5 Oscars, but the film's director, Peter Farrelly, wasn't among them. And in the history of the Academy Awards, that's never a good sign. The film appeared in a smattering of Precursor and Critics Awards, and Farrelly did receive a nomination at the Directors Guild, but no nomination for Green Book's cast at SAG. Again, not a good sign.
I think this is the best Kentucky Fried Chicken I ever had. But I guess it's fresher down here, right?
I don't think I've ever met anyone with your appetite.
No, I got the bucket so you could have some.
I've never had fried chicken in my life.
Who you bullshitting? You people love the fried chicken, the grits and the collard greens. I love it too.
I liked Green Book, and I think Mahershala Ali was more Oscar-worthy there than Moonlight, though he won Best Supporting Actor for both. Green Book was a well-made biographical drama, and it did well commercially. But I was absolutely positive that this film was going to win Best Picture. Did I love Roma? No. I actually thought it was overhyped, as again, before its release, I was reading how those who saw the movie were speaking about it as being the best film in decades. Maybe I shouldn't have been so gullible, as Roma won at BAFTA but received no love at SAG. Did Green Book squeak in because some of the other nominees may have canceled each other out? Then again, 2018 was a year of surprises. If you agree that these winners were shockers, how do you think it happened? Which other Best Picture winners do you consider as surprising or unexpected? Be sure and share your thoughts. Now, here's the Oscar-nominated actress who turned down Sylvester Stallone's offer to play Adrian to his Rocky because the gig didn't pay enough.
Making my own daughters laugh at me?
As usual, you've got everything twisted.
You let them see that you find me ridiculous. You encourage them to find me ridiculous. What have I got twisted?
Why do you have to overreact to everything?
What have I got twisted?
What has she got twisted, old boy?